Thank you so much. As rightly mentioned, for each one of you to break through the UAE market, we need to have a view on how we have today here Mr. Rajabali. He's a seasoned professional with a passion of revolutionizing the HR practices to drive unparalleled success for companies and its alike. He comes with a wealth of experience spanning various industries and global landscapes. He has honed expertise in talent strategy, leadership development, technology implementations, and data analytics. He's also served prestigious organizations like McKinsey, Microsoft, and Accenture. TAS now channels their expertise through Melius Consulting, which is a platform dedicated to reshaping the HR landscape. Through simplicity, resourcefulness, and a commitment to excellence, TAS brings a fresh perspective to HR, challenging norms, and delivering a game-changing results. Thank you for joining us, TAS, today. Over to you.
Did I write that? If I didn't write it, can you send it to me? Because it sounds really good. Hi, everybody. I'm Taz. How are you doing? Are you well? Yeah. Good. Well, it's lovely to be here. Thank you, Aksa, for the invitation. Virginia, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm pretty sure I didn't write that, so please do send it to me. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to be invited to talk to you. Aksa, I don't remember how we met, but that's probably an age thing. I tend to forget quite a lot of things these days. I don't remember how we met, but I'm very glad that we did. And this is actually the first actual event that we're doing. We've been talking for quite a few months now, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you. And as you know, I'm deeply impressed by what you're doing with Pupilar, and I hope everybody here is getting the benefit of the work that you're doing. And I'm extremely grateful for having the opportunity to contribute and to help you in your journey and to help you to achieve the wonderful outcomes that you've set for yourself and to help all of these people and that you've set for Pupilar. So thank you for having me. I am going to speak to you today about the job market, right? And about how you win in the job market. And the reason why I can do that is because I've been a participant of the job market in some way or another for about 30 years. And I'm deeply passionate about the world of HR and the world of work and the world of people really unlocking their own potential, having the opportunities to shine and to excel and to ultimately live very fulfilled and wonderful lives. So that's why I exist. I try to make those things happen. And one of the ways I try to do that is by helping people understand the job market. Why? Because it's a confusing place, right? I mean, there's so much information, there's so much advice, there are so many people telling you what to do, and then you do these things and they don't work, and companies tell you one thing and your friends tell you something else, and influencers tell you something, and then I come on and I'm going to tell you something. And it's confusing, and I actually feel for the people that are in the job market today, because I think it's one of the most challenging job markets I've seen in 30 years of doing this. And so I spend a lot of time trying to understand why it's so challenging, and then try to find answers for people and try to give them ideas that they can use, strategies and actions that they can use to win when it comes to looking for a new opportunity for themselves. All right, so very briefly, that's who I am. I would love to just know who you are, and that means you're going to have to take yourself off mute. You're going to have to spend 20, 30 seconds, and you're just going to have to introduce yourself, okay? Because we've got a small group, which is lovely because it's an intimate group, and then we can actually just talk to each other rather than me being here and presenting to you guys for 45 minutes, which I know at the end of a fasting day is probably the last thing you want, right? So tell me who you are in any order. We have a shy group, Aksa. What are we going to do about that?
I'll start out first. If no one else is going to start.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Yasser. I'm in computer science, study computer science. I graduated and I'm looking for work here in Dubai now. I'm here with my family. And that's me.
Beautiful. Lovely to meet you, Yasser. Thank you.
Nice to meet you too.
I'll go next. You can go, Laya. Okay. So my name is Afika. I come from Malaysia. Currently pursuing my master in international business. I have experience in both HR and events. Currently looking into something in HR as well. So looking for more experiences in the UAE.
Wonderful. It's lovely to meet you, Africa.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Laya Mustafi, and I studied in Turkey in landscape architecture major, but I have been working remotely as a graphic designer for 2 years. I come to Dubai to work as a landscape architect, but the problem here is that there are actually no entry-level jobs. I recently graduated, so that's the problem. Yeah, that's why I'm here with you all today.
All right. Lovely to meet you, Laya. Thank you for introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm Ahmed Aslam. I'm a recent graduate and I have 1.5 years of experience in retail management and analyst in the Indian market sector in Delta Band. And most properly, I'm looking for business analyst positions. And also, I'm deeply looking forward to them.
All right. Lovely to meet you, Ahmed.
Can I connect?
Sure.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are doing well. I am Nuran, and I'm from India. And I recently shifted to UAE. I've done masters in journalism. I worked for a leading media company in India. It's called Your Story, and I worked as a program manager for events. And here in UAE, I'm currently working as an event consultant. But I'm still looking out for opportunities because working with Your Story, I have got a exposure to the bigger market in India. So I'm looking forward to working with bigger brands here in UAE, who can give me again the same exposure, the bigger picture that I can see, Dubai in a bigger screen. Yes, that's me.
Super. Lovely to meet you, Nur.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Aisha Mizha. I'm an MBA graduate. I've earlier worked as an HR professional and in project management field. So I'm trying to get a job after a small career break. So yeah, that's me.
Hi, Aisha. Thank you for introducing yourself.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Hassan, and I'm currently pursuing a master's in marketing. I've worked in consultant. I worked as a consulting with Grant Ford and PwC, but to be honest, I didn't like it very much. So I'm trying to find opportunity in marketing because I didn't like consulting and I found it very boring. So I'm trying to get out of consulting and hopefully find like an internship or entry-level job in marketing to get into the field of marketing, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making me laugh. Is anybody left? Anusha, thank you for typing. You're having mic issues. Thank you.
No, I think we are done with the participants. Over to you, Tas.
Lovely to thank you for the introductions. And I have a deck. Do we have that deck? Do you need me to present it, or can somebody present?
However, you're okay with. Would you
mind? I'd be happy if you can do it.
Sure. If I could get the access to the slides, I can present it to you.
I think I sent it over earlier on.
All right, I'll just get it started with you.
It should be on the email. Yeah.
Just give me some time. I'll share my screen.
Okay. So in the meantime, I'll introduce myself. I mean, I was given a very warm introduction, but very briefly. So my name is Taz Rajabali. I am currently the CEO of Melius Consulting. It's my own business that I started 3 years ago. But prior to that, I spent about 30 years in corporate HR all over the world. I worked very fortuitously. I worked for some incredible organizations like Microsoft and Merrill Lynch and Honeywell and Philips, and have consulted with many organizations, although I did enjoy it. So Hassan, you and I can argue about that later on. But I consulted with the likes of McKinsey, with PwC, somebody mentioned as well. So I've had a very wonderful career. I've been able to travel the world, meet lots of different people in lots of different cultures, and really observe the way of the world from many different viewpoints. So I consider myself to be a very lucky human being who got to do these wonderful things and have these wonderful experiences. And today what I do is I try to use all of those experiences plus some knowledge that I've gained and some skills that I've gained over the years to try and help organizations navigate the world of HR, and to try and help employees and individuals also navigate the world of the job market and their careers and their own individual capabilities, and everything that makes us the wonderful species that we are. My ultimate objective is to try and help organizations and individuals elevate their experience of life, right? And to really live fulfilled, wonderful lives, either at an individual level, in a team, as a manager, as a leader, at an organizational level, really to unlock the potential that exists in all of us. And I'm a real believer in this. I'm a believer that every single one of us has something wonderfully unique about us. And if we unlock that, if we tap into it and unlock it, you can live very fulfilled lives, right? And so I help people and companies do that. That's what I do. All right. So that's just a very brief introduction. While we're getting the slides up, what I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to ask you to take yourselves off mute again and contribute to this. What do you want from this session? What are you looking for?
Sir, I would say that maybe to get some insights on what exactly I'm missing in, like, let's say I'm looking for a career in HR as well, where there might be some points that I'm missing, or there's something that I should do from my end to make it happen, or to make it easier for me to go towards that part. So just some insights on that.
Yeah, so for me, it's like I've spent quite a while as a job seeker, and I want to know what it looks like from the other side.
Hassan, you were talking about what do
what do they look for in a candidate from the HR perspective? Yeah, exactly.
From an HR perspective, okay, all right.
Wait, can I
Anybody
add something?
else? What are you looking for?
And also, I have been getting call back from different companies from their HRs, but the problem is I think I'm missing something during the negotiation phase of the salary and interviews. So I want to learn more about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little thing.
Anybody else?
Specifically for people without experience, what exactly is like the thought process from the HR department? What would you look for, and like what would that? I mean, yeah, I guess that would change. Like that'd be different from like country to country, market to market. But I guess just like as a few principles, just general ideas.
And maybe like something also. Maybe I think it's important. Maybe something like red flags. Like for example, a couple of days ago, I got like an interview from HR. Just asked me a couple of questions, and like I got the answer. I got like the answer quickly. They quickly accepted me. But like what I mean here is that maybe let's get to know a couple of red flags. Maybe in like an HR interview, what are the red flags that we should be looking out for? If the job is good or not good, or the company, or anything else of that matter.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else? Why does HR not respond? And if they can get reasons for rejection via email? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So I'm going to try and cover off as many of those as I can. We may not get to everything, right, through everything. But what I'm going to do, I've got a timer running next to me here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I finish early. I believe we've got until, what is it, 4:30, is it, Aksa? Is that what we're booked until?
Up to 5 should be fine.
Up to 5, yeah? Okay, so then we've got plenty of time. I'm going to leave enough time at the end so that we can do a Q&A session. If I don't cover any of this stuff in my presentation, I can absolutely cover it during the Q&A session. All right? Does that work for everybody? Yeah? Okay, good. Let's open the presentation. Whoever is presenting, please, if you could.
Because of the
could just
tech glitch, I think I'll go ahead with it. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, we can do this.
All right. So, Aksa, if you could just click onto thank you. If you could just go to the first slide. It was going to do a round of intros, so if you could just do a couple more clicks. That's a little bit about me, what I do, how I do it, and how to reach me, okay? So if you want to get in touch with me after the event, LinkedIn is the best way. That's my name there. I think we can send these slides around later, no problem at all. And by all means, feel free to contact me if you want to have a one-on-one conversation. More than happy to do that and talk to you after this webinar as well. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, preparing the vessel. When Aksa sent me the brief for this webinar, I said to her, can I have a call with you? And my first question was, what does that mean? What does that mean? And she explained what she means by that. Preparing the vessel means basically being ready. All right, so being ready to tackle the marketplace, both from an internal point of view, your tools, but also understanding the marketplace from the outside in so that you can best prepare yourself. All right, let me talk to you a little bit about what I hear consistently in the marketplace all over the world. This is not unique to the UAE. This is all over the world. All right, for clients that we consult with, they say one thing to me. They say, Taz, we can't find the right talent, right? Or they say to me, Taz, there's no talent in the marketplace. Okay? And I promise you, this is a consistent message from clients. We can't find the talent, or there is no talent in the market. On the flip side, I speak to thousands of candidates every year, thousands of job seekers every year, and consistently, hold on, go back. You're gonna ruin it. Up to there, thank you. And consistently, they say to me the same thing, right? We can't find a job, right? I can't get past my interview stage. I can't get reasons. I can't get responses. I just can't get into the job market. What that leads to from a candidate point of view or from yourselves, and I think somebody said it today already, what's missing? What's wrong with me? Right? And this is where it becomes dangerous, as I'm about to explain to you, is because you can't break into the job market and you may be making hundreds of applications. Yasser, you've probably made plenty of job applications, right? And you're not getting anywhere. Have you yourself started to think, what's wrong with me? Have you had that thought?
More so about what's wrong with my approach. Like, I know there's nothing wrong with me.
Good,
yeah,
good,
I must be
good.
doing something wrong for me to be unemployed.
I must be doing something wrong, yeah. Now, you're one of the fortunate ones, brother, because you're thinking what's wrong with the approach. You're thinking about it in the right way. But most people who come to me, they say to me, Taz, I do 500 applications in the last 6 months. I had one interview. I didn't get the job. I was qualified for the job. What's wrong with me? And what that does is it starts to create doubt and it starts to damage your own confidence. And you start to create beliefs in yourself that something must be wrong with me. I'm not employable, or I'm not valued in the market, or I'm not wanted. And this is not a good feeling, right? It's not a good feeling for anyone to think, I am not wanted. I'm not of value, right? And especially for you guys who are about to enter the workplace, this is the worst feeling, right? Is that, I don't have any experience. What have I got to offer? Well, we're going to hopefully change that mindset today, right? Because it's absolutely the wrong approach. And Yasser, you're on the right track there by asking what's wrong with my approach, right? But even that is not quite the right question. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that. So the first thing I want you to understand is there is this juxtaposition in the marketplace. Companies saying they can't find talent, talent saying they can't find jobs. and the two things are in coexistence at the same moment. And in 30 years of doing this, this is the first time I've seen it to this extent. I've seen markets where candidates say, I can't find jobs, normally in a recession market, right? Where companies are not hiring. I've seen economies where companies are saying we can't find talent, normally in a boom market where talent has been absorbed and there is a lack of talent in the market. Today, there are jobs and there is talent, and yet the two are not connecting. Aksa, can you click on the button or whatever you do? Okay. What are the two other things about the job market today? There is a lot of supply in the job market, which means there are a lot of people looking for opportunities. All right. Now, if you think about Dubai alone, 60 to 70 people who are employed in jobs in Dubai are actively seeking new opportunities. So if you take a workforce of 1 million people, 600,000 to 700,000 people are looking for opportunities. They are open to it. Okay? And that's excluding the workforce that wants to come into the UAE. Because you've got to remember, the UAE is an extremely attractive global marketplace today. Lots of people want to come and work in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Saudi as well. So this is a high demand marketplace, which means there is a lot of supply, a lot of candidates, a lot of job seekers in the marketplace. Now, what that means is there is a lot of noise in the marketplace. Now, what do I mean by noise? Okay, it means there are a lot of applications. There's a lot of people networking. There are a lot of candidates contacting hiring managers, contacting recruitment agencies, contacting this person. LinkedIn is awash with all of this activity of people who think they're doing the right thing. What you've got is a lot of volume and a lot of noise, and you as a job seeker today, your task is to break through that noise. And I'm going to give you some tips on how you do that as we go through the session today. All right. So you've got to remember that today you're in a marketplace where there are a lot of candidates, and those candidates are making a lot of noise. Now, if you think about it from a recruiter's point of view, if you think about a company recruiter in Dubai, each job posting on LinkedIn on average receives 1,200 applications per week. Right? Per week. Right? There is no way on earth a recruiter can manage that level of job application. So, put it another way, you apply for a job on LinkedIn, your resume is 1 in 1,200. Your chance of success is 1 in 1,200 at that point. And it's something for you to bear in mind, because that's the strategy you're choosing. So that's the environment that you are putting yourself into. A lot of noise, a lot of people, and your very low chance of success. Okay, so that's one characteristic of the market today. The other characteristic is inadequate hiring practices. The connection between candidates and companies is the hiring process, right? It's the recruitment industry, it's the hiring industry. Well, that industry is not equipped to deal with this market, right? I just gave you an example of what that means. One job posting, 1,000 applications. The recruiter is not capable of dealing with that volume of application, right? Here's another thing to remember. Recruiters are not working on one job. They're working on 20, 30 jobs at the same time. If you say 1,000 applicants for every job and you're working on 20 jobs, how are you expected to read 20,000 CVs? Well, you all know it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen, which is why you get a standard response from the system, which says, thanks for your application. We've had some great candidates. We'll keep your details. We'll get back to you. What that response says to you, or it should say to you, is, we haven't even looked at your CV because we've got another 20,000 we had to look at. We can't get to these. So while the online job boards, LinkedIn, has made incredible improvements to the hiring processes in some ways, it has also created a situation today where the current hiring practices cannot serve the marketplace that they should be serving. And the outcome of that is companies say they can't find talent and talent say they can't find jobs. And it's only because the hiring practices are broken. Notice, I'm not saying recruiters are bad people, all right? I'm not saying companies are terrible, and I'm not saying candidates are rubbish. This is not about any one individual. This is a systemic blockage, a systemic breakdown, which is causing you guys to experience what you're going through at the moment, what Yasir is going through, what Hassan is going through, what I'm sure most of you are going through, right? I apply, I don't get a response. What Anusha said on the chat. Why doesn't HR respond? Hopefully now you get an idea of why they don't respond, because it's impossible. The best you're going to get is a system-generated response. But if you're waiting for a personal response, the chances of that are absolutely minimal. Now, what I'm presenting to you is a very real but quite a bleak picture, right? But none of this is made up. This is just factual. This is what's happening today. And you've got to remember that you're not going to change any of these things, right? That's my job. I'm trying to change this, right? But you as candidates are not going to change the level of supply in the marketplace. You're not going to change the hiring practices of organizations until you've got enough volume to amplify the message, and that will get back. And hopefully Pupilar will be one of the organizations that can have that sort of impact. But you as individuals are not going to change this situation. What you can change is how you approach the situation, because that is entirely in your control. All right? I'm going to pause there. Does anybody have any questions about what we've just covered? Does it make sense? Does it sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar. It's extremely frustrating to hear companies complain about how there's no talent in the market and we can't hire, and there's so many job opportunities for people in tech and AI. Oh, we need them so bad. And then I'm applying for like 400 jobs every, I don't know how long, and getting like no responses. And I'm getting like the emails that say, after careful consideration, we've decided to move on with the
it's not true.
But it's not true. Yeah. But like the way
It's
I
not
think
true.
about it is just from like a strategy standpoint for myself, because like I only have to succeed once. So like as you
You only
said,
have to succeed once.
it's not my job to fix the whole problem. I just want to fix my own situation. So that's all.
Yeah. And the secret to succeeding once, Yasir, is to use the right strategies, right? And we're going to talk about that next. Anybody else? Does this resonate? Anything that you want to contribute? Feel free to challenge me. If you think I'm talking rubbish, I'm open to learning as well.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm going through. I've even recently I've been like applying to even executive assistants in LinkedIn, executive assistant positions, but even admin tasks, even positions that require like admin tasks, something like that like almost anyone could do, like secretary positions and stuff like that. But same thing, same, like same as Yasser just told you. After a careful consideration and all that stuff.
No, you won't get it. You'll get the standard message, which has been pre-typed, programmed into the system, and it'll do a mass mailing and reject everybody when they're ready. That's the way it works. I'm sorry to say it, but that is the way it works.
And about
Okay,
LinkedIn,
so
about LinkedIn,
Laya,
there's
please.
also messaging a section of LinkedIn where HR contacts you for a job, and then when you say, yeah, I'm up for it, I'm ready for an interview, they just don't answer anymore. That's one of the other confusing things regarding LinkedIn. Like they are
It's
preaching
absolutely
themselves.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And this is why I say there are inadequate hiring practices. I mean, the one thing that we talked about was just the applications, okay? But in my experience, and I've worked all over the world, the hiring professionals within the UAE, the standard is a little bit lower than what I've seen around the world. I've got to be honest with you, right? And we could go into a long discussion about why that is, right? And this is probably not the place for that discussion. But what I do see is that recruitment generally within organizations is a very administrative function. They are just, going through the motions, keyword matching. You've got to remember that recruiters, there's no incentive to get back to you, right? In no part of their job are they incentivized or required to get back to you. Now, what we hope is that from the decency of their characters and the humanity of their characters, they get back to you. But what we see in reality is that that doesn't seem to be enough of a motivator, enough of a reason, right? Now, I'm not saying all recruiters are terrible people. I'm pretty sure, and I train recruiters all the time. I know a lot of them are wonderful people. I also know that what they are asked to do, the way they are asked to work, there's no incentive. They don't have the time. They don't have the capacity to get back to people individually because they've got another 20 jobs that they've got to work on, another 1,000 CVs that they've got to, when I talk about inadequate hiring practices, there are many levels to that statement. And one of it is responding to applications and reviewing applications. Another one is reaching out and then responding when you get back to them. I know there are problems in all of this. Lowball offers, not giving interview feedback, not providing, and not telling you what the process is going to be. I mean, it's a mess. I'm trying to fix it, but it's going to take me some time because I'm one person. But I hear you, the entire hiring ecosystem is a mess, not just in the UAE, but I do see the UAE struggling in many specific areas. Okay, so now that we've painted a very bleak picture, right? Let me turn that around and say it's not all bleak, all right? And there are things you can do which are going to change the outcomes that you generate, right? And before we move into the next slide, I want to just reiterate this point. There are things you can do, all right? Now, a lot of people contact me and they say, Taz, can you find me a job? And what I say to them is, no, I can help you find you a job, but I'm not going to find you a job because it's your career. I want you to find you a job, all right? And I'll give you the strategies to make you successful. I'll give you the tips and the tricks to help you out. I'll teach you how to navigate this market, but don't come to me and ask me to do it for you, right? This is yours. This is your career. So take it on board and do it yourself. And that's what I would say to all of you as well. Instead of wasting your time with strategies which don't work, and Yasir, you mentioned 400 applications every so often. Imagine how much time that's taking you for 0 results, right? That's a strategy which is evidently showing you it doesn't work. Don't do this. Don't use the same strategy. It's not going to change miraculously, right? So let's talk about the different strategies we've got, and let's put those into action to get the results that we want. All right, Aksa, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so the invisible game. The invisible game is, for me, what are the considerations you need to be thinking about that are outside of the normal, outside of the apply on LinkedIn, outside of the make your resume ATS proof, outside of the normal way of doing things? Because the invisible game is where the juice lies. It's where the success lies. Why? Because 99.9% of people are not doing these things. What they are doing is they are making their resume ATS proof, and then they are just clicking easy apply like robots 100 times a day, right? Easy apply, easy apply, easy apply, and then waiting and hoping they get a positive response, and it's rejection after rejection after rejection. That's what 99.8% of the marketplace is doing, right? The invisible game is what the 0.2% are doing, and those are the guys that are getting the outcomes that they want. Okay, let's talk about some of those things. If you can click one time, please, Aksa. Know your value. Number one, first thing, know your value. Now, somebody mentioned when I was asking, what do you want from this? Somebody said, how do we position ourselves when we have no experience, no work experience, right? We're just students, we're just graduates. We don't have any work experience. Here's the thing, your value is not your experience, right? Your value is what you can do with experience. Let me elaborate on that for a second. When most people pitch themselves for a job, right? What they do is they say, oh, I'm Taz, I've got 30 years of experience, I worked all over the world, I've worked with these companies, I work in HR, I've done these things, right? None of those things are my value. None of them. Not my experience, not the number of years I've worked, not the companies I've worked for, not where I was born, not what I do on Sunday. None of these things are my value. My value is the outcomes or the results that I can generate because of my experience. All right, let me say that again. My value is the outcomes I can generate because of my experience, because of the companies I've worked at, because of the fact I've had a global career, because of the fact that I've got 30 years of doing this. Because of those things, I can deliver these outcomes. And outcomes is your value. So if you've been a student and you have no work experience, it makes no difference because you're focused on experience. The experience is not your value. At school, at university, you have gained incredible skills, right? Learning how to work with teams, multicultural, working with people from different nationalities and cultures, working to deadlines, prioritization, working on projects, there are so many things you've learned, right? How to manage projects to time. These are the things that are your value, right? Most people do not understand the value that they are offering the marketplace. And I find this absolutely mind-blowing, right? And obviously then when I started to realize this a few years back, I started to dig into it and to try and understand it. And what I realized is we are so programmed in talking about ourselves based on our history, right? If I say to you, tell me about yourself, you're going to tell me where you were born, where you grew up, what you've done so far, your background, your history. And job seekers do the same thing. They talk about their history. Well, your history is not your value. Your value is what you're going to do in the future with your history, right? Because I've got this, I can deliver this. That's your value. Now, here's the thing. Leaders of organizations want to hear value. They don't want to hear about your history. Your history validates your value. But the first thing they want to hear about is, what are we going to do together in the future? So if you go to a company and you say, I've got 2 years experience, congratulations. What do you want me to do with that? I'm happy for you, I'm proud of you, but what do you want me to do with that? Now, if you go to a company and you say to them, because of my 2 years experience, we're going to do this together, now you're going to get people excited. People get excited about the future. Some people get excited about the past, but the past is done, right? People get excited about the future. When you're talking about the future, you've got to talk in terms of value. And to be able to talk in terms of value, you've got to understand your own value. So Hassan, I'm going to use you as an example here, right? You said you've worked at PwC as a consultant, your history, right? And that you've got marketing experience, your history, But what do those two things allow you to offer an organization? Because offering them your experience and your history doesn't excite them. But what you can say is, at PwC, I learned how to do ABC. And because of that, coupled with my marketing capabilities, I can deliver for you XYZ. Or a better way to do that would be to say, I can deliver for you XYZ because of what I learned at PwC. Right? So your value is far more exciting for organizations than your experience and your skill set. And 99.8% of the world, they talk in terms of experience and history. They don't talk in terms of value. And here's the crazy thing. This is not just for graduates, right? I coach CEOs and I ask them, what's the value you're offering your next employer? And you can see them going blank. Oh, well, I did this and I did that and I did this. And I'm like, but that's not your value. You did those things. Your value is what you're going to do in the future because of your experience. And you can see that they start to think and then, wow, I never thought of myself in that way. I never thought about things that way. Well, the first thing I would encourage you to do is think about your value. I've got a question here from Alusha. I'll read it out. How do we demonstrate our value in a resume? And second question, if we don't make it to the interview, how do we discuss with the recruiter about our value in exactly the way I'm explaining, right? So let me take the second question first. How do you explain with a recruiter? If a recruiter says to you, tell me about yourself, right? The worst question that can ever be asked in an interview. It's a lazy question. It shows that somebody doesn't know how to interview. You're going to get asked it all the time, right? But see it as an opportunity. It's a chance to show your value. Tell me about yourself. What I'm passionate about and what I can deliver to my employers is this. I can deliver that because I've learned these skills at university. What I can deliver for my employers are projects which never fail, are always delivered on time. Our customer satisfaction, which goes through the roof because I understand how to deliver more than I'm expected to. Right? Those are value statements which are future looking. That's what's going to excite people. If you say, tell me about yourself, well, I studied here and I studied that and this is the grade I got and I was born here and I mean, okay, great, wonderful, but I can't do anything with that. So your value statements, the outcomes you're going to generate are what's going to excite employers and recruiters. Now, how do you demonstrate it in a resume? The value I offer is. As simple as that, Anusha. You don't have to do any more than that. The value I'm offering is this. And then you list the value you're offering. And when you list your value, don't fall back into the habit of talking about your experience. It's very easy to do that, right? If you're going through the thought process of this, ask yourself this question. So what? Ask yourself that question and keep asking yourself the question until you come to your value. Let me give you an example. I have experience working with multinationals. So what? Well, because of that, I worked with many different people from different cultures. So what? Well, because of working with different cultures, I learned how to communicate in a better way. So what? Well, because I can communicate in a better way, I'm able to explain concepts to other people in a clear manner. So what? Well, because I can explain concepts clearly, I can generate additional revenue for customers who work in global markets. That's value. So you see how we go from experience to value by asking so what every time. Keep asking yourself so what until you get to your value statement. And your value statement is what's going to excite an employer, not your experience statements. Not your, I did this in my project. I worked in a team of 6 people. So what? Well, yeah, so what? I worked in a team of 6 people. So what? All right. So try and get your mind to be thinking about value. What's the value you offer? And as soon as you do this, your resume is going to completely change. You're going to start talking about value in your resume. And your conversations with recruiters and hiring managers and your interviews, they are going to change because you are thinking from a value point of view, not an experience point of view. And you are going to be in the 0.2% who think like this, because the 99.8, they still think the other way. All right?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Hi.
Right. So I'd like to think I think in terms of value, in terms of my own value, and that really, like, realistically right now, what I can offer companies is not experience. I don't have experience. All I have to offer is my value. So
yes,
but I feel like the problem is that I'm never actually being seen by people that make the people that are involved in the work itself. Like for example, I've been rejected from one job. Like, this is one of 3 interviews I've had, or like months. I've only been able to get like interviews, and I've been screened out just because I didn't meet the experience requirement, even though I have all the skills necessary and I'm able to actually do the work. So I feel like one of the biggest problems I'm running into is that the people doing the hiring, the people that I have access to, the only people I have access to, are very literal when it comes to like the job requirements. And like,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
I've seen LinkedIn posts, like job postings, where it's not only is the job post Chat GPT generated, they forgot to even take out like the placeholders for different parts. So it's like obvious that these people have no idea what the job actually requires and what I can offer. It's like, it doesn't matter what I say. So
it's terrible.
My problem is how do I get to talk to the people that actually make the decisions? That's my biggest challenge right now.
So you just go and talk to them.
I'm sorry. How do I?
You just go and talk to them. Like you said, I agreed with everything except one thing that you said. You said I don't have access to these people. You do. You have access to anyone.
I mean, I have access to them through LinkedIn, me and the other 50 people that are asking for a 15-minute coffee chat, but that doesn't really get me anywhere usually. Like, it hasn't worked out for me.
Well, you've got to give them a reason to have a coffee chat with you. Right? You've got to remember, people are getting a lot of messages, right? But they're not rejecting all of those messages. They are replying to some of those messages. Now, which message do they reply to? The message that offers them something they want. It's so obvious, right? If I send you 100 messages and 98 of those messages you don't want what's being offered, but 2 of those messages you want what's being offered, you're going to reply to those messages. People make the mistake of thinking that nobody replies to messages. That's not true. People reply to the messages that offer them something they want. It's just that most messages don't, right? So when you reach out to people, offer them something that they find valuable. Now, we can go into the details of this later, right? And I should probably continue with my presentation.
I'm sorry.
But no, not at all. Please don't apologize. Stay engaged, right? But the critical thing is, understand your value and then go and offer it to somebody who might need it, right? And all you got to do is you got to go and tell them, here's my value, do you need it? And you'll be amazed. The people that I coach who are using this approach are getting up to 45% response rates. And I always, normally the people I coach are middle managers and above. I say to them, go and talk to CEOs, don't talk to anybody else, right? Now you might be thinking, well, the CEOs are the busiest people in the organization. Yeah, maybe, but guess what? Offer a CEO something they need and they will reply to you like this. I remember about 1.5 years ago, I coached a young lady who was trying to get into cybersecurity, and she was a fresh graduate, right? And she had no experience, but she had a deep passion to go into cybersecurity. She got a job in 1.5 days doing this. She'd spent months applying online, huh? She got nowhere. 1.5 days, she got a job in cybersecurity because she contacted the CEOs of the top 100 cybersecurity firms in the UAE and just said to them, this is what I offer. And one guy came back to her, CEO came back to her and said, come and see me tomorrow morning. And she went and she walked out of that meeting with a job offer. And she messaged me the next day and she was like, Taz, I just got a job offer. I'm like, yes, because let's just use logic. Let's use human behavioral logic in our, thank you. Let's use human logic in our approach. Let's not be robotic and blind in our approach. People will respond to you when you offer them something of value. It's as simple as that, right? You tell me something you need today, and if I write you a message in an hour and I say, hey, I've got what you need, you're going to reply to me, right? All right, let's move on because otherwise we're going to run out of time, and you can see that I can talk for hours on this. Right, number 2, people hire people, all right? Now, I would love to sit here and say to you that recruitment is a sophisticated function. It's science-based. You know, these tools and techniques are absolutely infallible. You just cannot argue with them. There is brilliant science behind all of these, and hiring decisions are made, you know, with zero risk because the recruitment function is absolutely bulletproof. But I would be lying to you if I said those things. The truth is, most people hire people that they like, right? And who do we like? People that are like ourselves, right? That's so most people hire people that are like themselves, right? You know how that looks? Hiring managers say, go to these universities and find candidates from there. Why those universities? Because I went to one of those, right? People hire people they like, and we like people that are like ourselves. So when you are preparing yourself for the invisible game, remember, be likable, okay? Be likable and try to mirror the person that is speaking to you. If you know the person that's going to interview you, do a little bit of research on them. Find out where they've worked historically. Find out what their interests are. Find out what you can about them. And when you speak to them, be genuine and be likable. Talk to them like you would another human being, right? Not robotic like another hiring manager or a candidate, because that's what everybody else is going to do, right? I can't tell you the number of times that hiring managers have said, this candidate was more qualified, but I liked this candidate more. And guess which one they hire? I liked this candidate more. Even at the expense of a more qualified candidate, a hiring manager will hire the candidate they liked more. So when you are going for interview, whether it's for a recruiter, whether it's with a hiring manager or HR, be likable. All right? That means as simple as put a smile on your face before you answer the call, especially if it's a video call. But guess what? Even if it's not a video call, you can tell if somebody is smiling, right? Try it. Try it with your friends, right? Contact them on a non-video call, do it without a smile, and then contact them with a smile. You will sound different, and people will pick up on it, right? So as simple as force yourself to smile before you get on the conversation will change the response that you receive from that conversation, right? There are other tricks, but be likable, number one. All right, let's move on. Stand out from the noise. This is so important. I talked to you about how there is so much supply in the marketplace and how that supply is creating a lot of noise, right? The nice thing is, for you guys, the nice thing is everybody's making the same sort of noise, right? What do I mean by that? People are using AI to create their resumes. What does that mean? Most resumes look the same. Most resumes now look the same. The profile sounds the same. Believe me, everybody is hardworking, a great team player, results oriented, self-starting. Everybody, right?
Thrives in a
And we
dynamic
know that's
environment.
not true. And if you use that language in your resume, I beg you, please get rid of it. Get rid of it, okay? Because everybody else is using that language. And if you've used a CV writer to write your CV, or if you've used ChatGPT to write your CV, I promise you it sounds like most other CVs. Now, what's the problem with that? Let me tell you the problem with that. How are you going to stand out? Your CV is supposed to show what makes you so wonderful and beautiful and unique. But if it sounds like everybody else's CV, how is the reader supposed to see that this is the person I want to speak to? Now, I know I'm going against what everybody's telling you to do, right? Use ChatGPT, use this structure for your CV, make it ATS proof. I know I'm going against all of that advice, right? But let me ask you a question. Is that advice working for you? Is it generating the results you want? Of course it's not. So in my book, that makes the advice bad advice. And I'm telling you this from the position of employers, right? If you are a hiring manager and you have 5 resumes in front of you and 4 of them look exactly the same, but one is a little bit different, right? That person has put a little bit of thought, a little bit of authenticity, a little bit of uniqueness, a little bit of their personality into that, a little bit risque, a little bit different, a little bit standout. Which candidate do you think is going to get invited for the interview? Do you think the hiring manager is going to go with vanilla? Or do you think they're going to go with strawberry cheesecake? Right? Of course, it's highly likely they're going to be more interested in the different one. Now, here's where I said to you, I'm going to paint you a bleak picture, but I'm going to paint you a really nice picture as well. 99.8% of people are doing exactly the same thing. And that means you have got an opportunity to stand out and be completely different. And believe me, being different in a world of black and white, being technicolor in a world of black and white, you're going to get noticed. And I can tell you the job market is black and white today. Everybody says the same thing. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody has the same resume. Everybody uses the same approaches. Everybody has the same answers for interviews. Black and white. In a market where you are trying to show how wonderful you are, don't be black and white. Be vivid, HD, UHD, 4K, however many pixels it is, Technicolor, scream it loud, scream it proud. Okay? Because everybody else is black and white. And I mean stand out from the noise in everything you do. Your resume, your job search strategy, your answers to questions, what you say about yourself, how you see yourself, how you present yourself. Yes, so you said my access is to these people who are going to assess me based on these very black and white criteria. Yes, I agree. Then stop talking to them. Don't become black and white. It's not helping you. It hasn't worked. It's never going to work unless you get really, 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 really lucky. And can you really put your job search down to luck? Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to find somewhere that wants to hire you because you inspired them, because they were blown away by you and they just said, come and talk to us? Well, go and inspire people. And you're not going to inspire them by being black and white and the same as everybody else. I'm sorry. Okay, let's move on. Play smart. I'm going back to what I talked about. Strategies that don't work will consistently not work. If you've applied for 400 jobs, it's highly likely that your 401st application is going to end in a rejection. Highly, highly likely. In fact, the chance of it being successful is 1 in 401, which the mathematicians amongst us will tell you is 0.00025% or something like that, right? When your strategies are not working, please change your strategies. Don't keep doing the same thing and hope tomorrow it's going to be a different day. Tomorrow a recruiter is going to read the 983rd resume and they're going to be so entrapped and inspired by my AI generated resume that they're going to call me straight away for an interview. It's highly unlikely. You're not playing with good odds. I'm encouraging you to give yourself great odds, all right? So play the game, but play it smart. And most people are not playing smart. Most people are playing like everybody else, like sheep, doing the same thing, not thinking, doing the same thing over and over again. And believe me, from a company's point of view, I coach hiring managers, I coach CEOs of companies all the time. If somebody stands out for them, hallelujah. They are screaming for people who are innovative, who are thinkers, who are not sheep, who are going to stand out, who are going to take a risk, who are going to do what it takes to succeed. Why? Because you're going to exhibit those same behaviors at work. And guess what CEOs want? CEOs want people who make things happen, who go around the rules to get the results, who are going to think differently to generate the outcomes, who are going to take a calculated risk. You know, if you're working in sales and you sound like every other salesperson, you're going to get the same results as every other person. The incredible salespeople, the salespeople who are killing it, are doing things differently. And they won't tell you their secret sauce, because otherwise you're going to copy them, right? Well, with the job search, it's selling. You're the product, right? You're selling yourself in the marketplace. If you're going to do what everybody else does, your chance of success is minimum. So go and be that incredible salesperson who plays the game smart in your sales, in your marketing, in the way you position yourself. First of all, in how you think about yourself, because that will shape everything that comes afterwards. So first of all, how you think about yourself. Hassan, if you think, I worked at PwC consulting, I don't like it, you're missing the value that you derived from working at PwC. Rethink it. What did I get from that experience? What now has made it makes me better because I was at PwC, even though I don't want to be a consultant, totally cool. But what did I learn? What can I do now better than I could before I was there? Right? That's how you need to change your mindset. And that's how you need to communicate in the marketplace when everybody else is doing the same old thing. Aksa, next picture, please. Avoid distractions. The best picture I could find was for a cell phone, but I don't mean cell phone. Okay? Yes, I do mean cell phones. When you're doing your job search, be focused, right? Because put some focus into this, because you're going to create wonderful outcomes when you put focus into it. If you're constantly watching your WhatsApp number appear, or if you're constantly seeing your Instagram posts appear, you're not going to focus. You're not going to come up with that magic formula, that amazing statement, that way of positioning yourself. You're not going to, because you're constantly distracted. But I don't mean cell phones in this. What I mean is, be careful of the advice that you listen to, because there are a lot of people out there giving you a lot of advice. I know, I see it all the time on LinkedIn, right? And I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest with you, right? And I'm not giving you advice, I'm giving you opinion. You can take it or leave it, right? But my opinion is, most of the people out there giving you advice should not be allowed to give advice. They are talking absolute junk. Most of the people out there giving advice have never lived this. They've not done 20, 30 years of working in HR in organizations to see how it really works. A lot of people have failed in their own application process, and they've taken those lessons, and now they want to go and tell the world, I know how to do it. By the way, pay me and I'm going to create an amazing LinkedIn profile for you. Be careful about the advice that you take from people, please, because you can get pulled into a lot of wrong directions. A lot. Okay? So be really careful about who you listen to. By all means, listen to people, but then form your own opinions. And form your own opinions using logic and reasoning and critical thinking. Don't just take it from someone that they are speaking the gospel, because there's a lot of people out there who are pretending to know what they're talking about. All right? If you think your answer to job search is to make your resume ATS proof, I will stand up for 1 million until the rest of my days and tell you that's not the answer. Because even if your resume becomes ATS proof, the chance of it being read is less than 1%. And then you're only going to get to an interview. You're not even going to get to a job. And then you've got to get through the interviews. The answer to your job search is not having an ATS proof resume. I'm sorry. And I won't charge you anything for that advice. Okay. So please be careful about these experts in the marketplace who are telling you, I'm going to get you a job, do this, 100%, you're going to get 5-time pay rise and all of that. It's not true. There is no magic bullet to job search. Otherwise, everybody would be doing the same thing. There is no magic bullet. Even the strategies that I'm telling you, right, are 30 to 40% successful. And that's the most I've been able to generate. And I think about this every single day, right? 30 to 45%. And that's the best I can promise anybody. Okay, let's move on. Final point, win at every stage, all right? What that means is win at every stage of this. Give it your best at every stage, right? What I mean by that is don't do a ChatGPT resume and think, you know what, I'll kill it at the interview. Or I'll kill it at the hiring manager interview. I won't even bother with the recruiter. I'll sail past that. No, don't leave it to that. Win at every single stage of the job process, of the job application process. And it starts with how you think about yourself, the materials and the tools that you use. And I know Akshay is going to get speakers who are going to help you to create the right tools and materials. Win at every stage, how you go for interview, prepare for the interview, right? Think about the questions you're going to ask and then blow them away. Recruiters are not difficult to understand and to preempt the questions that they're going to ask you, right? It's not difficult. And if you need help with that, contact me and I'll help you. I'll tell you what they're going to ask you. And then I'll help you to develop answers which leave them with their mouths open, right? But most people don't do this. Most people think, yeah, you know, I'll get by, I'll waffle, I'll blag my way through it. Nah, no. Why leave it to chance? Win at every stage. Final point, Akshay, one more click. Try to make it fun. I know job search is horrendous, right? I know it's painful, it's difficult, it's just rejection after rejection. I know, right? Which is why I encourage people not to use the standard approaches and try to use approaches that are fun. You want to go and work at Emaar? Go and contact the head of Emaar and say, hey, this is why you should employ me. What's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing. You're either going to blow them away and they're going to be like, wow, I like you, come and see me. Or they're going to ignore you, or they're going to reject you. Well, you're in that place today anyway. So you might as well try and have some fun with this, because otherwise it's just going to be difficult. It's just going to be difficult. And your life should be too important to you to just be miserable about this sort of stuff. You can make it fun, right? Play around with your messaging. Have some fun with it. Make a joke. You know how many people joke in their job search? None. Nobody does. You know how many people would love to hear a funny statement when they receive a message? Probably most of us. Why? Because the other 99 messages are boring. It's work. Right? But somebody who messages me and makes me laugh, hey, the chances are I'm going to reply to you, right? Even if I've got nothing for you, I'm probably going to reply and say, thanks for making me laugh, thanks for being a ray of sunshine in a gray day, right? So try and have fun with this. There's nobody saying you can't. These people are saying these are the rules. What rules? Show me the rule book. Your CV should be 2 pages. Who says? Show me the rule book. There are none. There are no rules. You can contact anybody you want. Anybody you want, you can contact them tomorrow. There's nobody saying you can't. Yes, recruiters will say, no, you have to apply through here. Recruiters say a lot of stuff. They want you to apply and then they're going to ignore you. So then why do it? Play the game by your rules. Make it fun. Have some fun with it. I'm going to and take questions. Thank you for listening.
So I have a question, Taz. So how do I, for example, communicate my value to, let's give an example, the CEO of Dentsu in Dubai? Like, I'm a guy who's worked with PwC and who's worked with Grant Thornton, but as an internship, not worked as in worked. But I've done maybe my marketing experience is maybe minimal, to say the least. So how does someone like me communicate his value to someone like the CEO of Dentsu?
Right. So already, Hassan, just in your question, right, you've gone back to experience and you're putting yourself here. You're saying, how do I talk to a CEO? So you're putting yourself down here, right? It's subtle, but that's how you see yourself, right?
Exactly.
So you don't believe you've got anything to offer. Yeah, but you don't believe you've got anything to offer. Well, guess what? If we put the CEO of Amazon and we got him or her and we said, do you think this person has something to offer? I guarantee they would say to you, yeah, probably. Let's investigate what it is. Because everybody has something to offer. Everybody. Ask any CEO. They'll tell you everybody has something to offer. But by your question, you're already saying underneath the subtext, I don't have anything to offer. How do I go and talk to a CEO? The first thing you've got to do, you've got to break this mindset. You've got to break it because it's going to carry with you in everything you do. You've got to get out of that mindset. You've got to start thinking, what have I got to offer? Right? And this is not the time, but get in touch with me. We'll do a session and I'll figure it out. I'll ask you some questions and I'll figure out what you've got to offer. Right? And then you go and tell them that. You worked at PwC, right? One of the most in-demand organizations in the world. I guarantee you've got something to offer, otherwise they wouldn't have hired you. Right? So I guarantee there's something. You just don't know it yet. Or even worse, you do know it, but you won't admit it to yourself. And that's even worse. Right? So get in touch with me, we'll do a session and I'll tell you, we'll figure out what your value is. And that invitation is open to anybody else on the call as well.
And you mentioned during your talk about how we should prepare for an interview, but interview HRs nowadays, they call you out of the blue like 9 a.m. in the morning. And I had HR calling me and they refused to tell me which company they are asking for. And they only ask questions and they don't tell me when they're going to call back. And when I ask them what is their salary budget for the role, they tell me, no, what is your expectation? And my expectation for them, like I said, like a standard average of the marketplace, and they always think it's too much for the average marketplace standard. I don't know how is that. So I wanted to know how to navigate that in this kind of interviews, which they don't see me, they don't know me, they just call and ask and hang up. So I just wanted to know about that.
Yeah, put the phone down. Don't waste your time. No, Leah, I'm sorry, but that is the most disrespectful approach that anybody can take, right? And you should have more respect for yourself, right? Like if you're going to call me and if you're going to tell the company that you're representing, why are you wasting my time? When you want to treat me like a human being, call me back. Until then, don't waste my time. But here's the thing, Leah. Here's the thing, right? You might think that's a little bit radical because if that's your only approach And then finally HR calls you, you're so grateful to get a phone call that you're going to accept anything, right? Even that sort of phone call, you're going to accept it because finally somebody called me after 500 applications. Well, I'm saying don't put yourself in that situation in the first place.
Okay.
Don't put yourself in that situation. Go and talk to people, offer your value, go and talk to professionals, go and talk to leaders, right? Now, not everybody's going to be wonderful. You know, sadly, we live in the real world, right? Some people are not wonderful, but there are a lot of great people out there, right? Just go and talk to the good ones. If somebody's going to call you up and say, I'm not even going to tell you what company I'm representing, sorry, don't waste my time. Don't be so disrespectful. Call me when you want to treat me like a human being, and then we can have a conversation. And I would literally put the phone down and not waste your time.
Okay, that's good advice. Thank you.
Just an opinion, never advice. I don't tell people what to do.
Sure.
Anybody
Hi.
else?
So, okay, so I was one of those 98% people who kept applying. I don't know how many, I guess if I check my LinkedIn, there'll be like good 600, 700 applications. But then what later I was like, okay, people can ignore my emails, can ignore my WhatsApp messages, can ignore, that online application, easy apply, whatever I did. But then they cannot ignore a full-grown human being. So what I did, I used to like randomly go to an office and I'd be like, hey, listen, I need to speak to this person. So I used to do a little bit research, check the LinkedIn, who is like, someone relevant. Like, for example, I do events, so I just check who's the event manager or maybe someone who's the marketing head. And then just, memorize that name, go to that office and be like, hey, can I speak to Hassan? And then they'll be like, okay, like because before what I did was like, hey, can I speak to the HR or the admin? And they'll be like, okay, no, take an email, send the email. So, but then later I took this approach, but then where I went and told, okay, hey, can I speak to this person? And then some did, come and talk to me, and some didn't. They were like, okay, no, you know what, just send me a message or whatever. And that trick actually worked. That's exactly why and how I got this job, that my current consulting job that I have. But then what I want to say is, in good 3 months, I managed to get 5 interviews, 5 to 6 interviews, where all of them asked me to do sales, whereas I clearly told them, hey, I'm into operations, I do event management, I take care of IPs, I'm specialized in that. I put all my values in front of them. But then they're like, okay, this all is fine, but you know what? We want you to do client management. We want you to do a little bit of sales. We want you to generate revenue with whatever you're doing. So they want me to do whatever I'm doing, which is like two people's job, but still they want me to do sales. Where I don't know how to say them no, but then I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll get back to you. And that's how I like missed all the 6 interviews that I managed to get. I don't know
Okay.
how to say people that, see, listen, this is what I like to do, this is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm really looking forward for. Whereas the job requirement is that. Like they really want a, the event manager, but then with that they want somebody to take care of the sales.
Yeah. So bravo on the approach, right? I mean, imagine that things are that desperate that you actually have to go to offices in person and pretend that you've got a meeting with someone. But that is the nature of the job market, and amazing, resilience that you've got to be able to do that and to get 6 job offers. Sometimes, Nuran, the opportunity that you want is not in front of you, right? And you've got to make a call, right? You've got to make a call. Sometimes it's worth getting into an organization and then navigating your way through it once you're in, right? You have a lot more buying power. You have a lot more say or influence once you've proven your capabilities than when you are new, right? So what you might be thinking is, listen, 2 years, I'm going to go in, I'm going to kill it with sales, right? I'm going to become the number 1 salesperson. And in 2 years' time, you're going to give me everything that I want, right? At that point, after 2 years, your negotiating power is much higher. Whereas today, your negotiating power is a little bit less. Now, You may say, okay, I'm going to go until I've got 20 job offers. And if 20 job offers are sales, then the 21st one, I'm going to take it. But until 20, I'm still going to go for operations. It's your decision. Or you can say, I'm just going to take the first one that comes along and I'm going to prove my worth. And then I'm going to navigate internally. And if after 2 years, the internal opportunity doesn't open up for me, now I've got 2 years of experience, a whole load of lessons. I'm a different person today. And who knows, you might find that you actually enjoy sales. You don't even know that you don't enjoy it right now, right? So you might find I was forced into this, but hey, actually, guess what? I like it. I'm going to go for a sales career. You don't know that that's not true, right? So you've got to sometimes look at what's in front of you and you've got to make smart decisions, right? You can keep saying no and keep going for the 21st job offer, hoping one of them will be operations, or you can choose a different strategy. The choice is yours.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say earlier, you said to think about the job hunting process as sales, right? Like the whole thing is sales. You are selling yourself. So if we were to think of it that way, then I think my problem would be in generating good leads. I don't think I'm actually, I think the online application process is completely futile. I've pretty much given up on it. I still do it like every day, just, you know, who knows, like might as well, but like I want to really focus on a strategy, like a different strategy for getting myself in front of people.
Yes, online applications, if you're taking the sales analogy, online applications is like email marketing, right? And email marketing is 1 in 100,000 success, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 0.001%. So that's the equivalence to online applications, right? What you're defining is a very targeted sales approach, right? Where you identify a target customer, you understand their needs first, you understand how your product, in this case you, meets their needs, and then you communicate it in the right way. And that is a lot less than 1 in 100,000, right? So you got to do a little bit of work. You got to think about who you're going after, but most importantly, you got to think about what you're offering them and do they need it? Because there's no point presenting your offer to somebody who doesn't need it. None whatsoever, right? But if you identify somebody who does need it, the chances of them needing it again. If I've hired, sorry, what did you say you did?
Oh, I work in data science, computer science, stuff like that.
Data science. If in the last year, and you can find this on LinkedIn, if in the last year I've hired 5 data scientists, I'd probably be a good person to speak to, right?
Yeah.
But if in the last 5 years I've never hired a data scientist, don't waste your time contacting me. There's no point. It sounds so obvious, right? But that is what job search is. Like, it's just this spray and pray approach and low success. Team, I've got to apologize, and I've got to make it a hard stop because I've got the next call waiting for me, and so I need to close it. Aqsa, thank you. Everybody, thank you for being here, for being engaged, for your questions, for your challenges. I've loved this session. I've put my details on the PowerPoint. Please feel free to share it around. Guys, please feel free to contact me at any point if you want to, right? I'm happy to do one-on-one sessions with you. They're all free of charge. You can do as many as you want. And reach out anytime if I can ever be of service. And Aqsa, thank you for having me. I've really loved it. And hopefully it was of value.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Taz. I'm sure it's going to help all of them. We're going to run a round of feedback. We're going to share the slides that you shared as well. And I think we'll get back to you soon. But thank you so much for a lovely, lovely session. Thank you so much for everyone joining in. We'd hope for you guys to have a lovely Eid. Please make sure that you use all of the stuff that Taz just shared. And inshallah, we'll connect in April after Eid. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.